Alright, Red November. Like I said at the end of the wrap, I don't really have a whole hell of a lot more to say on this. It's not much of a game in terms of size, and there's not a lot to discuss about it. It's fairly simple, although the rules go out of their way to make things really, really difficult to cope with. If you watch through my rules introduction, you can see how much trouble I had with it. Component-wise, this little map's a bit of a pain. There may be a bigger version. You don't really need it for anything except tracking along here. And if you had more than just more than 4 players in it, if you had all 8 or something in it, I don't know if you can. Yeah, it can hold up to 8 players. You're going to have a lot of gnomes on the board, and that's going to be kind of a painful crowding situation. Player aids, useful, nice item summary, most of the information you need to play the game. There's a couple of things you'll still have to look up even after you figure out the rules. You see, I did a couple of times. The die is pretty standard. The bag, I don't remember if this came with it or not. If it did, it's pretty decent. Has a nice feel to it. I don't know. Doesn't seem to show one here, but who knows. Cards, functional, small. Good quality. It's Fantasy Flight. Put some money into the product. It barely fits into this little box. But that's okay, because it does fit. In terms of the gameplay, there's something very clever with how they handle time in this game. It doesn't quite work, but I think it's close enough that it's kind of cool to have that kind of balance. Hey, it's my turn. Oh, I'm using up a lot of time in the future. That could be a problem. I want to make sure that everybody's kind of moving forward at the same rate so that we have the full amount of players for the amount of events that we're getting, etc. Again, that's a clever idea in it. Most of the rest of it is fairly random. Hey, look, something bad happened. Hey, I'm taking a risk. You have a lot of risk management in it because you can decide to spend enough of your time to guarantee that you've solved whatever the problem is you want to solve. But once if you spend too much time, you're going to trigger more problems than maybe you're solving, especially where you're trying to fix little issues, which is why when I played it, I often was doing just little pulses, because honestly, if something big comes up, I want as much time as possible to solve that, rather than whatever I was doing, draining a room or putting out a fire, popping open a door or whatever. I think the game is a little too simple. But again, I think if you really, really wanted to, you could tweak it around a little bit. And the simple, not in terms of too easy. It's not too simple. It's at about the right level, I think, for the kind of game it is. And I think it gives you some pretty nice little choices and little decisions, but it's fairly easy to get to the point where I think that you can pretty much win most, maybe 80% of the time. So what's missing from it for a co-op for that is that it is a pure co-op. And I'm not really thrilled with a pure co-op where you win most of the time. There should be more a character-to-character conflict in it. There's this rule for schwacking people over the head with the crowbar, but no real advantage to doing so. And if you're playing the gnomes, hey, why would you do this? There's nothing within the game to make the combat make any sense. Of course, it's called Gnomes Gone Crazy or something like that. But it's a cute concept, and it works well enough that I think it's worth a couple of plays. You probably didn't pay a whole lot for this. I don't think it's worth much more than that, unfortunately. This is not a Awful Green Things, even though it's in the same kind of tiny board and has has sort of a cute atmosphere to it. It's just a cute concept with a really cool idea on the timing aspect, but not much of a game there in the end. All right, up it goes.